So if you've been following us on our Rip Off Britain series, where we visited a pub, an air, a club campsite, we wild camped, a pop-up campsite. We're just going to give you a roundup now of how we feel that went and what we feel is the right thing for us. We've had a lot of comments from you. You've really engaged with this subject.
The last place we stopped was an independent, and that was £16 for the night. It's a chap who's basically using the funds as he goes to make things better.
Yeah.
So it was nice to give...
Aeroplane.
If the video ends now, you'll realise it was the aeroplane.
Oh, it's a big one.
There's no whistling noises, so we're okay.
Yeah, we booked it on PitchUp. I quite like PitchUp because I can book something very quickly and easily. I know the campsite owners pay to advertise and use their booking system, but I do think it is a very easy way for us to do it and to check prices and to check availability. So as Paul said, that was £16 for the night. Did we like it?
We did like it. Services on site. There was a shower there which you could use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, £1.50 a shower.
So you had to pay to use the shower, which, you know, was fair enough because it's not in with the price. So you've got the option, which is actually quite a nice thing to do. You're not paying for something
that you're not going to use.
Yeah. There was no hookup. That wasn't available.
Fine
Again,
for us.
So really it was £16 to stay in a very well cared for field on a farm, helping a family develop a business, supporting them.
We'd booked in. We were a little bit nervous about where we park this thing now, obviously considering situations in the past. So we'd actually parked it up by the hedge next to the road, a very quiet little country lane road. So we'd set ourselves up, we'd got everything sorted, levelled, brilliant. I'm cooking the tea. Paul went out to chat to the farmer.
He asked me, did I like classic cars, which I do. I've got one. He said, well, that's good. He said, there's a rally coming through at some point. Rally cars from yesteryear. And I was like, oh, that's quite good, actually. I'm interested in that. And then he mentioned it was probably going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. Boy, we did hear it.
Oh, yeah. We did sort of say, shall we move? And then we're like, nah, we're all set up. Everything's sorted.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. 2 a.m. They'll probably come through. It'll be really, really quick. My God, they were shifting though.
Yeah.
They were really shifting. And they didn't all come through in a clump. They come through, first one came in at about 1:45 and we were asleep. And then it was just like, oh, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I think they had the Formula Ones going through first and then the three-wheelers were coming up about an hour later. But,
and they were louder.
But
the whole thing took about 45 minutes to an hour, I think, for all of them to come through. So just as you were dozing off again, another one would come through.
In the locality, we were able to walk the dogs down to an old quarry.
Yeah.
Dolly had a swim, Pippa had a run in a bar.
Mm-hmm.
We did that in the evening and in the morning. Absolutely great location. We did have problems with narrow roads, so I really appreciate all the feedback on the sat navs and what we can use.
We've had loads of feedback on the last video, haven't we?
Yeah, we'll check through them. The only thing I would say with the location was it's those roads or no roads. Because it was so far away from the motorway and in the sort of rural parts of West Wales, the roads are narrow.
Yeah. Our comedy sat-nav. Oh! Comedy sat-nav has decided to take us up here. Now, the other way didn't look so great either, so we're just going to follow it and hope for the best. Yeah?
There was no alternative. I did look. Luckily, we are quite narrow, but certainly, yeah, we do need a better sat-nav. The one we've got doesn't really accommodate you to put in length, height, width and so forth, but if you can get a tractor through there, you'll get us through there. Really
enjoyed it. In fact, we enjoyed the independent one so much that we're booked at the end of this week in a completely different area for another independent farm type setting campsite which we booked through PitchUp. So I would say independents for us, they cost a little bit more than we are comfortable paying. We wouldn't pay that in Europe or in mainland Europe. But I think if we're going to be in the UK, I think we like the independent ones best. Before that though, we prefer the airs. That was for us, wasn't it?
Well, the airs are great. You know, out of all of the ones that we've done, I think value for money was the rugby club.
Yeah, the air.
£10, you've got the security, you've got the toilet, you've got the water.
We've had a few comments from Paul saying that perhaps we need to give wild camping another try. We had a lovely comment from, I think it was a guy called Dave yesterday, and he suggested that perhaps Wales is not particularly wild camping friendly. So he suggested a couple of other places. He really suggested Scotland. So I think that's something this year we're going to go up, give that another bash.
Yeah, I think we'll give that a bash, and I don't think it's completely across Wales. It's just a case of where we stopped, we experienced that.
Sorry.
I'm sure there's hundreds of other examples where other people have stopped and it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But we can't try everywhere. We just tried that one that looks nice, that's on Park for Nights. So, you know, our honest feedback, if it helps you to either stay there, not stay there, or experience what we've experienced, just to give people an insight into what you can get for your money.
Then, of course, the club sites. Now, to be perfectly honest, we're going to cancel our membership. I know you can get the smaller independent sites, but we can also access them through PitchUp. So we don't feel, for us, it's value for money. The club sites are lovely. They really are. They're well looked after, the wardens are very nice. It's just too much money for us. So we're working to a budget and that doesn't fit in our budget. So I think it's due to be renewed within the next couple of months. So I'm going to be cancelling the renewal.
Pub stops are a treat at rate. You know, you've got to look at it that you are supporting a local business. They are cheap, can stay at some for, I think, sort of £10-12 a night. Yet you don't have to go into the pub. You can stay there and pay that fee. Or there's others that say you can stay for free, but please come inside and have a bite to eat and a drink. Most places you can ring up and say, can we stop there? Got to bear in mind though that you are in a car park, so you wouldn't expect to see people getting out the tables and chairs in awnings and so forth. The same as a wild camp, the same as the rugby club. I keep going back to that one because I was so impressed with it. There were picnic tables and benches and so forth that you were welcome to sit out on. For an extra £6 in the independent site, you could spread out as much as you wanted.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are the downsides, there are the upsides. It depends really on what you want.
What's next? Well, what is next? Well, we are going away again this week. As I mentioned earlier, there is going to be an independent site for the first couple of days. And we're going to the Shepton Mallet Show. So if you want to see us in real life, I don't know why you would, but if you want to...
Yeah, it ain't all that, is it?
So we love meeting you guys. Come up and say hi. We're going to have the two better characters from Reds Go Travel with us, the wonderful Pippa and the fabulous Dolly. So come up and say hi to them. They'll be very pleased to give you a good licking. Well, they would.
Whilst we were in Croatia with lack of gas coming through the bottles. Now, it wasn't temperature, so I worked out it was actually the manual changeover valve from gaslow. So this is the gaslow propane manual valve. So basically you turn one on, it locks off over there, and it'll only ever run one cylinder at a time. But there's something stuck inside here, it's not working, it doesn't run whatsoever. That was about 40 odd quid to replace, and the other unit was, I think it's about £60. So for an extra 20 quid, we've got ourselves a spare regulator, because really you need to carry one, especially the places we go to, you need to carry one. So yeah, out with that, in with that. It's a relatively straightforward job. A couple of nuts and bolts and so forth. And then once it's done, I'll check for leaks, but I'm not going to use it. I've got a mate who's a gas engineer. He's going to come around and just check it for me as well. I wouldn't do this unless I had the backup of a gas engineer just to double check my work. And while I'm at it, I've also realised that these have perished. That's what gives you a good seal, always worth checking. At the same time, I bought 5 replacements to go on to the gas pipes, but that one has certainly had better days. That one's gone, and no doubt, yeah, that one seems okay, but it would be foolish not to change it whilst they're off. So I've bought 5 new ones to put on there. That's all it is.
That looks better.
One of those, yeah, well, yeah, that compared to that, so
Yeah.
there may have been a bit of leakage and so
I was going
forth.
to say, there would be, wouldn't there?
Possibly, but you know, it's these things that may not get picked up on the hub checks. So there we are, that's the one out. 8mm tubing, just unscrews, flared ends, reconnect into there. 30 bar pressure, same as the other one. That's it, simple. That one's out, put the other one back in, check for leaks, plumb it in, sorted. That's the bottom vent, and in there are your burners and so forth, but what happens is it fills up with soot.
Yeah.
And I can see the outlet for the soot at the top. I've already cleaned some out. You can see it in there, and I've given it a good blast.
Oh dear.
But shouldn't hopefully work. Bloody big cloud of it came out.
Did it? Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah, I thought it might be a bit more dramatic than that, but it wasn't.
Well, you've disappointed.
Sorry. There's a little plastic lip there.
Yeah.
It engages there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that goes in there.
Mhm.
That comes round.
Yeah.
The little plastic pin comes out of there,
Yeah.
and that's it, locked in place. So it's that simple to get in there.
Mhm.
And just give everything a good clean out. And
Okay.
you can see in there, look, where I've knocked some soot out already. My hands, see, from cleaning it.
Sooty hands. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me, sooty and sweep. All in all, I spent just over £50 and bought a automatic changeover gas regulator. So they're about £40–45 for single ones, and I think it was about £55, but again we can put the details in the description, for an automatic changeover. So in essence now, this wasn't the problem. It was actually the washers in the end of the pigtails, as they call them, had degraded, which was allowing gas to leak through. So basically I just tightened up everything, put new washers into the pigtails, put a new regulator on. I would recommend to everybody, if you're travelling across into countries where dealers are few and far between, take one of these as a spare, and that will get one bottle going again, or you can split the outlet, but at least you've got a spare. It's £40 for that. A dealer would probably charge you over £100 to supply and fit. It really is simple to do, and as I've previously mentioned, that's going to sit with my spare water pump, because it's things that you're not going to pick up.
Didn't you get some spare tap switches as well?
Yeah, micro switches, carry those as well. If they pack up, again, you're going to struggle to get them. You know, micro switches, £12 each.
Yeah.
The water pump was about 50 quid because it's a twin impeller, but they do pack up, and the last thing you want to do is have no water.
Yeah. I think it's very important to have a little pack of spares or safety equipment on the van, so that you know, come any situation, you're covered. We'd never recommend anything unless we think it is something that we would use, we would keep in our kit, and is going to be completely valuable.
And you know, this bit of kit could basically save your life.
This is good.
Oops.
This is a good one because obviously it's got a bendy neck and you can get it into all the nooks and crannies. So if your gas bottles, or you're worried about the leak being a distance from you, then you can put it in.
Well, you got this little one that doesn't go in quite as far. So I used the gas detector in the compartment, which was handy because of the long reach probe, because I've got two gas bottles. So rather than having to sort of contort myself to reach in and work out where the problems are, that's where it came into its own a little bit with the long probe. See if it works. So let's simulate a gas leak. We're ready. Oh dear. And that's what happens when it says you're going to blow up. There we go, it's still sampling.
So that's the sound of it less.
So that's it. So it's constantly sampling, parts per million of gas in the atmosphere.
You dickhead. I knew it was empty in there.
Right, come on then. here, you can get it right into the back. It is very sensitive. I've got it on high sensitivity. And that's been sealed up for over a week easily. The gas is on. I've not isolated it. And we did notice a slight smell when we opened the locker, which is why I put the probe in. But what you will find is that the smell of the gas does go into these pipes. So there is always a little bit of a smell, and you can mistake the smell of these pipes, the rubber, for that. That's why with this, absolutely spot on. We'll put a link to the probe in the description. Like I said, it does the same as the pen, but it gives us the ability to get into the depths and the corners where little gas pockets can accumulate. So this will, you know, get in that little bit further. You can get it right up to the gas point. You're not in there with a pen reaching in and messing around. So yeah, we'll put a link in the description. They are on Amazon in various outlets, but yeah, well worth it. I was in the fire service for my career, and these things are an absolute godsend. I've seen the aftermath of a gas leak and explosion, and you know, this bit of kit can save lives. So yeah, well worthy of having. Along with smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector and extinguishers. Again, I've just changed the detector in the van for a dual carbon monoxide smoke detector. That was another eBay one that worth it. So rather than having two different detectors, it's an all-in-one combination. So it looks a bit neater, but it does exactly the same job, and it's got a 10-year battery.
That is much neater than our old one. And you just push the middle bit, do you?
The first bit was the fire detector, the second bit was monoxide, because it's a 2-in-1. So rather than having white boxes peppered all over your van, that's all you need, just one of them. And a gas detector.
There you go, that's a Fireman Redder's top tip.
For your support and subscriptions and comments, it really does mean a lot to us. So if you can, please subscribe, like, and
Yeah, it's
ding that ding-a-ling.
Ding. Paul wants his ding-a-ling dinged.
Ding-a-ling dinged, and I've got to go and do some probing now anyway.
Right, let's go and get that done.